welcome back to another episode of the CFT FitCast, episode number 4. Today we are going to be talking about something new, something very important to everyone's fitness and way of life in terms of improving your functional fitness, your functionality. So if anyone wants to kind of talk about what we're going to be going over today?
Definitely. So topic-wise today, team, we're going to be talking about the importance of accessory work, when we should implement it into our program, really when it should be used. Is it an everyday thing? If we're going to break down what accessory work is in the simplest terms, it's the little lifts and movements that we're utilizing to help with our big lifts and movements. A lot of the times when we're in the gym, especially in the CrossFit setting, we have our athletes that are dominant on the barbell, but don't take any time to work on their weaker points or the weaknesses. If we can really get more people to utilize accessory work, we can obviously put more balance and target your limiting factors. The goal is to activate, to engage, and strengthen the weakness. Louis Simmons, who everybody should know from West Side Barbell, he calls these special exercises. If we can really incorporate these special exercises into our everyday training routines, we can find our athletes and our everyday members really improving the quality of their life, the quality of their fitness, and the overall results that we're trying to drive from our training programs. So Coach Matt, when we're talking about these special exercises, what are we really trying to teach our people out in the gym?
Well, when it comes to accessory lifts or accessory exercises in the way that you're mentioning them, for example, the deadlift for an individual who has complaints of low back pain, or they're an individual who has a hard time holding position in a deadlift, or they've just plateaued their 1 rep max deadlift or even a 5 rep max deadlift. Accessory lifts are going to be that extra oomph you need to kind of get you over the hill as far as a plateau goes, or any type of pain while moving. It's a great way to work on individual movement mechanics, the intricates, as you call them, of the exercise, because there's a lot more that goes into the movement than versus just doing it. There's a purpose behind every exercise we do, as well as developing things like stability. I know for squats, Bulgarian split squats are guaranteed going to give you a 10-15 pound PR if you've never done them before. Try 3 sets of 10 per leg for 2 months, twice a week, and see what it does for you as far as your squat PRs go. So working the single leg or single arm exercises has a huge turnover. Even just basic stability exercises has a huge carryover as far as improving main lifts like the cleans, the snatch, the thruster, the front squat, the bench, the deadlift, whatever lift you're trying to improve. Taking a step back and working the smaller muscles that support that big lift are a great way to get stronger and move without pain.
Yeah, I think I could add to that in our current programming, thanks to TZ Strength, we'll plug in there for Jacob. He programs a lot of extra work. So extra work being stuff like just additional Olympic weightlifting, additional cardio conditioning, additional workouts, WODs, if you would call them, workout of the day. And those aren't just there for fun. They're there because they fulfill a purpose in your overall fitness to elevate your fitness to the next level. If you're somebody interested in getting your sweat on and being okay at CrossFit, that doesn't mean that extra work is still not good for you. I notice a lot of people love to go to open gym. They love to work out on Sundays. They love to just kind of come up with their own workouts. This will be fun. Let's just do this. That's awesome. But what we want to encourage you to do is take that energy, that fun, and make it into something that's going to benefit your weaknesses. So something that's going to make you stronger at just in general. Because obviously, the better you are at something, the more fun it usually is, right? So if you can fix your weaknesses and get better at movements that you struggle at, and use that extra time in the gym to improve those things, overall you're going to enjoy working out more, because you're going to be able to do more things. You're going to be able to do them fluently, without issue, without pain, without restriction, which ultimately just makes everything more fun.
And if we take something like the squat, which is heavily programmed, And if we only train that one lift, obviously the athlete's going to improve due to the workload. But without any accessory work being programmed into that squat, what are we doing to strengthen the hams, the quads, even the lower back? If you look at an athlete that is squatting heavier, but that upper body is falling on that athlete, we're losing that low back, we're losing that midline stability. If that athlete implemented those accessory movements or those special exercises that we're talking about, we can train those muscles, but we're not going to be limited by the weakness in those muscles too. So if we're taking time to do those accessory movements, like Coach Matt said, if we program that Bulgarian split squat, you will see gains that you've been waiting for. You can wait it out, stick to your program, just squat, 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 but that barbell limits you to what you can do. And if you can really think outside of the box, or even ask one of us to give you some accessory pieces, we can really make it fun to where you will want to do those movements. Too much barbell in the heavy lifting, it's gonna increase the wear and tear on the joint. So we really need to switch up our training modalities in the gym. If we're being bothered by this or being bothered by that, we kind of have to look at our training. We could be overusing a specific movement too, to where we might have to pull it back and reprogram you a little bit. I know Coach Matt's really good about the programming and just digging in deeper with his clients, to where you might not see the barbell for weeks down the road in your training. Because if there's an issue already at the beginning, we really have to address that issue for that specific person. Maybe take them aside and just give them some cueing points on what we're seeing, and maybe give them some homework over the course of the week. What do you guys think about that?
I think a lot of the homework's already there for a lot of people. I mean, if you're trying to fix a severe weakness like shortened hamstrings, or in my case, I'm just inflexible, so I use ROM-WOD, but I'm sure there's a lot of other things I can learn from Mobility Matters in terms of additional homework that I could do. But I think for most people, it's a matter of they want to do stuff that's fun, they want to do stuff that's they're going to see some sort of tangible effort. And I think if you're just looking for something easy and quick to do, again, I'm going to go back to something like the extra work. Whether you're here at CFT or you're at another gym, there's generally a larger programming content than what you're getting through the affiliate programming. And we share that with our members. We share that extra work, those extra workouts that a lot of other gyms might charge you for. I'm not really sure. I've seen it go both ways, but in terms of extra content, the extra work's already written out for you. It's there. We post it on that daily workout of the day on the screen. You can see what the extra work is that directly correlates with what you did that day, that will either help you cool down, help you build those individual muscle groups. And then you have the other stuff we post in Open Gym, workouts, additional Olympic weightlifting. You're only going to see Olympic weightlifting maybe twice a week in TZ. The rest of it's in the extra work. So if you're like, man, I really want to see more Olympic lifting, that's when you got to go to Open Gym and pull up that and look at that sheet and do the extra work. But be smart about it. Understand, if you just smoke your shoulders in a WOD, it's probably not good to go back there and do snatches. You have to you have to also understand your body, and that's where talking to a coach, grabbing a coach and going, hey, I want to do some extra work. What should I do today? We can look up that list and go, hey, this is the perfect thing for you to do today. You want to do the snatches, that's really awesome, but I think that should be done on Friday because of what's programmed. So, again, we're here to help. We're here to make that a smooth transition and understanding for you. So, Matt, you want to?
Yeah, another thing is asking the coaches how to fine-tune the extra work for you. So if you're, again, I like picking on the hamstrings because what I've noticed, not in just CFT, but most gyms across the globe where I've been, or the United States I should say, because I haven't been out of the United States, is overdeveloped quads and just tiny, tiny hamstrings and hips, which is a huge significant imbalance when we're talking about individuals who do workouts like CrossFit. So RDLs, Romanian deadlifts. I know last week extra work was built to a 5 rep max deadlift. Maybe you should work on Romanian deadlifts instead. So the programming that we have, again, we spoke on this last time, is general. It's meant for the general individual looking to excel in their fitness expertise. The extra work's there to not only develop the intricate individual moving pieces of your body, but also develop the volume, your ability to do more work within that given time. So developing yourself and maybe even fine-tuning the extra work to more specifics for you. And that could be as simple as just walking up to a coach and asking, hey, or a coach that you work out with, that you're in their class all the time. They know how you move. They know where your weaknesses are here at CFT Fitness. Ask them what extra work they can do, or what extra work can correlate to their weakness and your weakness, and things that you can improve on in the gym.
Yeah, just touching on that, I know a lot of people we get in here, like we've touched on this a million times, injuries, right? People have injuries, people have issues, people have predisposed injuries from other things that they've done in their life. The big thing that we can do with that is we can understand, hey, like Matt said, we can turn regular deadlifts into Romanian deadlifts. We can instead of a pull-up complex, we can turn it into negatives and, shoulder presses or lat pull down with a band. We can tweak things to fit your needs. So if you're dealing with a pulled hamstring or a bum knee, and the programming says do those single legs lunges and squats, we can change that to something else that fits what you need, that works around your knee, but continues to help you build those individual muscle groups so that your injury becomes a thing of the past and re-injury also becomes almost normal.
Yes. And when Coach Matt mentioned volume, you get a lot of athletes that think of accessory work and they immediately think, how am I going to get any volume out of doing accessory work? Where accessory work allows our athletes to increase volume while at the same time taking stress off of their joints. If you're struggling with, say, pistol squats, the Bulgarian split squat is an amazing exercise to build that overall strength.
And improve ankle range of motion.
If you're having trouble with things like pull-ups, the bent over row or the pendlay row can really develop that overall strength, the midline stability, strengthening your lats. If I'm struggling with handstand push-ups, let's go grab some heavy dumbbells or moderately heavy, seated shoulder press. Maintaining the proper positions, keeping your core tight. Most people, if you're struggling with a barbell to get over your head, the dumbbell is a whole nother ball game. Once you start isolating movements, and like Louis Simmons says, bilateral movements are great, but when we can get into these special exercises, the isolating, and if you look up West Side Barbell and the type of extra work that they do, it will scare the average human being out of the gym. But our extra work, it's always up there. It's always programmed for the athlete. And the best part about it is our extra work is eventually probably going to come back to you in the next week or upcoming week. So it's things that they're not just going up there for the hell of it. They're going up there to benefit you. If you have a 3-rep max clean and jerk that's in the extra work, you better believe that's probably going to come back to you somewhere down the road. And if you're just, I don't want to do that today, it's going to get harder for you, and you're just not going to see the results that you are trying to drive from your training altogether as an athlete or just a regular gym goer. And it gets frustrating because it's like you can see somebody just did their handstand push-ups and they've only been here for 2 weeks, where I've been here for 2 months. What gives? We can break down what that person's doing versus what you could be doing, and you can really see what's lacking from your program.
Yeah, and if you're not putting in the time outside of programming to work on your weaknesses, so for working on pull-ups, one of our personal trainers, Chris Minton, I'm pretty sure he has his clients doing pull-ups more than once a week. Mm-hmm. And when I'm talking about pull-ups, I'm talking about your accessory pull-up workouts, your pull-up riffs. Yeah, strict pull-ups, chin-ups, negatives, static holds, RDLs, barbell rows, ring rows. Doing that more than once per week That is what accessory work is, doing it multiple times, 2 times a week, maybe even 3 times a week, depending on the difficulty and the volume of your general programming as well. That will get you your strict pull-up really quickly. I've seen people get a strict pull-up in a month by hammering accessory work. I've witnessed it. I've watched it progress. And it's cool to watch it happen because they're doing the work and they hate every second of it. But to see the look on their face whenever they get a legless rope climb or a strict pull-up or 4 strict pull-ups when they couldn't do 1 is pretty powerful and inspirational. Makes me want to do my accessory work.
Yeah, I mean, you notice they double down on their accessory work after that. A lot of them, they go from being non-believers in terms of what accessory work is to all of a sudden they're doing it, and they're doing it with pride, and they're doing it religiously. You know, and I think the other thing that people need to understand is accessory work is not meant to destroy you. Accessory work is meant to be something that you can do religiously almost on the daily, at least 2-3 times a week, as supplemental. So we talked about this in the last episode about supplements and how they are supplementing something that you're lacking. Accessory work is a supplement to your programming. It is not the end all be all of your programming. If you focus on your accessory work and forget to actually focus on, you know, the actual programming itself, you're going to run into problems the same way. You'll run into problems just depending on protein shakes instead of actually eating whole foods, you know, chicken, steak, turkey, you name it. You can't depend on protein shakes. You can't depend on accessory work to get good at something. The accessory work, again, is an accessory to the main component to your success. So, you know, negatives, different types of push-ups, pull-ups, pulling mechanisms, pushing mechanisms, different things like that. They're accessories to the main portion of the program, which is what you're doing every day in class for 60 minutes. So they're both combined on how you put that formula together for success.
And even, you know, from the professional side of it, if you watched the games this year or watched regionals, there was a lot of dumbbell this year, a lot of kettlebell, you know, a lot of the odd objects. And you see firsthand when athletes get upset when they don't get to touch their barbell for a given workout, you know, and right there, that is exposing a weakness.
Yeah, you can see who was prepared and who wasn't.
If you complain right from the get-go and right from the beginning, a weakness is exposed. You know, oh, I hate using kettlebells, or oh, I hate lunging with dumbbells overhead. Well, when those workouts start coming into your programming and start coming more frequently, you can't avoid it because you will have the hardest time keeping up with people when we're doing those sorts of things.
And you noticed that with TZ. When we started TZ, it was immediately into dumbbells.
Mm-hmm.
Dumbbells were a large portion of what we did. And in the open, you know, I bought the dumbbells for the gym in January for the idea that, you know, we could use them. You know, people need dumbbells in their workouts and programming. I thought it was something that was effective. I've always believed accessory work, stability work, understanding stabilization muscles, getting away from barbells was a really important thing to kind of bring to the gym. And, you know, we got lucky too. I mean, with the open, we were prepared. You know, that was all luck. I obviously did not foresee that coming. I don't think anyone foresaw dumbbells being so vital to the games and regionals and the open. But long story short, when we kicked into TZ Strength, it was a lot of dumbbells. And people were not happy. I mean, let's be honest. The general consensus from the members was, man, I can't stand these dumbbells. Can we go back to a barbell? Can we go back to, you know, why are we using so many kettlebells?
Yeah.
You know, and the big thing is, because it's building stability. But now everybody's PRing their barbells and nobody's asking questions anymore because everybody's pushed, everybody's overhead work, everybody's cleans, everybody's snatches, they're all going up. So I think that's kind of the long and the short of it is, you know, again, accessory work or whether it's part of your main programming, stability work, building those individual muscle groups is still part of it, whether you're a bodybuilder, a CrossFitter, a power lifter, or a, you know, a Zumba instructor. It's all important. That's my take on it. Matt, you want to add something to that?
When it comes to choosing accessory lifts, it's more you need to look at what you're trying to accessorize. If we're talking about pull-ups, then obviously we need to train everything that goes around the pull-ups, whether I would even argue to say lateral dumbbell raises would even help you get a strict pull-up. And that's something you never see in a CrossFit gym or around CFT Fitness, unless you're doing personal training. Because I actually have 2 of my clients do lateral dumbbell raises all the time, because they suffer from shoulder impingement in the front of their shoulder. And that's one of the exercises that can help them strengthen things around their shoulder, to kind of get them into a position where they can do things like hold a barbell in the front rack, which is one of my goals for them.
I think
That's a big goal.
when people like ask like, what can I do at home? You know, what if I can't go to the gym? I have a perfect example. I have 2 ladies that I just recently signed up for some PT, both suffering from hamstring issues, and we're talking old hamstring injuries that were never taken care of, were never treated, and it's just kind of, you just train, you deal with it. Yeah, my deadlifts feel okay, I just don't really push myself when I'm doing it.
Or I just don't deadlift.
Or I just don't deadlift because it just hurts. Well, what hurts? You know, what's the root of the problem? You know, was there an old injury? Did you take a fall at some point in life? But falling causes a lot of trauma on the body. You might not even realize it. And you take a spill in your living room, fall in the driveway, that's gonna create some sort of injury pattern. And one of my favorite go-to exercises are glute bridges. It not only targets the hamstrings, the glutes, we can also target lower back. Because if we're talking more of that mind to muscle connection, if hamstrings are weak, our glutes are probably having an issue. If the glutes are having an issue, probably means my lower back never feels good. So that simple exercise, lie down on your back, get your feet pretty close to your butt, push up through those heels until you feel your glutes contract. That is a glute bridge. It can be done for repetitions. You could do it as a whole. If you start to progress and get stronger, we can now go into a single leg bridge. So even accessory work can advance, it can be modified, it can be scaled, and it can really help anybody add more volume to their current training regimen. And if we can find ways to sneak in more volume, how are we not going to get better at what we're trying to do?
Exactly. And when we're talking about doing accessory work, or even working out, my opinion, personal opinion as a coach and as 6 years experience in the fitness industry, or the realm you call it, is exercise essentially is meant for us to get better. The overall goal for me whenever I'm training someone exercise is I want to see how they can move their body as a unit. You are a complex system of systems. So you all, from your digits all the way to your entire arm, is a complex system of systems. So using your body, whether you're doing deadlifts, thrusters, Fran, Helen, or Murph, if I can see someone using their entire body when they run, when they do pull-ups, when they do deadlifts, they're utilizing the entire system together, not individually. If you have to break it down to something as simple as what is the foundation of that system, I would go ahead and put that on the core and the midline, stabilizers. We just said something about glute bridges. So if anyone's talking about specific muscle groups that are working in that glute bridge exercise, what I really hone in on an individual, since I deal mostly with athletes or individuals going through pain while they exercise, is reprogramming or repatterning that mind to muscle connection, not with just a couple muscles, but with the entire system. So when I'm doing a glute bridge, I want your hips and I want your belly active, and I want them both to move up together, and I want them both to move down together. There's not any point in the movement where the hips will move separate from the low back. And that's the type of dysfunction that's causing things like low back pain whenever you're deadlifting heavy, because you have this disconnection between your upper body and your lower body when you move, because you never really trained and honed in on this pattern that you need to keep your belly tight, your butt tight, and move your lower body and your upper body together as one system, not individually.
You know, I see that too with a lot of other movements. I mean, people can easily get lazy, whether it's a push-up, it's a ring row. I mean, let's get really basic with these movements. You know, push-ups, I mean, one of the biggest issues that we have, and I mean, you see this at Murph, you see this a lot when there's high-volume push-ups, is people will just kind of flop like a fish, where their thighs are touching the ground first, their stomach follows shortly after, and then their shoulders, and then it's the opposite back up. And you know, that's not a pure push-up. That it doesn't count in any shape or form. It wouldn't be acceptable in the military. It wouldn't be acceptable. It shouldn't be acceptable anywhere.
And it does nothing for you.
No, it
gets
does
zero
absolutely
benefit.
nothing for you.
It just gets you closer to the end of your workout.
So that's where, accessory work can translate into the most basic movements as well. So understanding your core, understanding how to activate all those things, tighten your body to the point where it's one rigid plank position, and you're lowering that rigid plank position to the ground where your chest is touching first, and then you're pressing right back out the same way. That is something that is tantamount to success in a lot of different movements, whether it's a ring row, whether it's a push-up, whether it's a deadlift, your Olympic lifts, your pull-ups. Having a tight core in your pull-ups, people don't realize how important that is to keep that nice tight core position, especially for a strict pull-up. If you're dead weight and there's absolutely no energy firing through your body through tight muscles, yeah, you're basically pulling up dead weight. It's like picking up a dead body. I mean, it's not going to go anywhere.
A lot of misfiring too of those and very important muscles that's needed in the pull-up. A lot of people like to pull up with their elbows in line with their size, but actually you got to pull up and your elbows rock forward in front of you so that you can get in more of a efficient pulling position. And like you were saying, talking about the core and everything, if you don't follow TZ strength conditioning or programming or any type of specific lifting programming, start with your core, glute bridges, planks, and make it easy, and then work it to single leg. But then don't forget and understand the basic concept is you're trying to move your body throughout the exercise as a unit. There will not be a point in a single leg glute bridge where your leg is off the ground but your butt is not, or your butt is off the ground and your leg is not. You move the body together, and you don't add difficulty to those accessory movements until you've mastered that basic form or that progressive form of that accessory lift. Then you add the difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think there has to be a chain reaction there. You look at any major sport and how the body works and how the mechanics work of that particular movement, whether it's a golf swing, basketball shot, the swing, hitting a home run. You're generating power from places other than your arms, and when you're hitting a home run, that power is generated from your legs. It's powered through your core. It's powered through your extremities, right? So it's all this power coming from the bottom of your body and growing throughout your body, and then exploding through your arms to generate that power. That's why guys like Scooter Jennett have hit 4 home runs this year, and it's a guy who last year didn't have any. He's learned how to generate that power, and if you catch the ball right, it's going. I mean, there's that ball's not coming back from outer space. And the same thing goes for a basketball shot, right? So people say, it's a jump shot, but what is a jump shot, right? Well, it's power generating from your feet all the way up through your body, and all you're doing is flicking your wrist. Well, yeah, that takes a little bit of tricep strength, bicep strength and whatnot, and some practice, but really that power is being generated from the rest of your body. That's why they jump. They're not jumping just to get over a defender. They're jumping to generate power, right? That's why you can shoot. That's why a guy like Stephen Curry can shoot the ball from half court in a jump shot manner and swish it every time, because he's generating power from his legs. He's not running and just launching the ball as hard as he can. He's shooting with accuracy because he's built up that muscle memory. He's built up the way to generate that power throughout his whole entire body, locking up all those muscles and sending it like a current.
That's right. And if you've ever been to a CFT level 1 seminar, they actually talk about, or CFT, CrossFit level 1 seminar.
We have our own.
They actually talk about this theory of core to extremity, and that is the theory that all energy is generated from the core and then dispersed throughout the extremities. So from the middle to the outermost part of your body.
And then when we're talking like accessory work, a lot of gyms, some gyms are equipped for accessory work. You walk into a bigger corporate gym, Globo gym, you have all the machines. You have your seated leg curls, your hamstring machines, your leg presses, your shoulder presses. It can be different coming into a box or a CrossFit facility where we don't have any machines. It really forces the athlete to get creative. And I think that can be a factor too, where it's like, oh, they don't have any of that stuff, so I don't have to do any of that crap.
It's in the programming.
We don't need the leg extension and the leg curl, because if you're thinking about natural universal movements, the leg extension was a movement that was created. That machine was created to serve a purpose where you need to squat for everyday life. You need to be able to bend over and pick stuff off the ground. There isn't a machine that can mimic those natural movements. If it's out there, I'd love to find it.
Oh, the Smith machine, bro.
You know, oh yeah, the Smith machine is great. It guides me through. It assists the weight. Like if I see you doing deadlifts on a Smith machine, you know, you should just leave the gym. You know, but coming into our facility, you know, for someone, oh, you guys don't have any cable machines. How am I going to work my triceps or my biceps? Well, we've got all these rubber bands hanging on the wall. Nothing will teach you how to use your body more than putting it under the tension of, say, a resistance band or maybe some suspension training utilizing a TRX. There are lots and lots of different modalities.
Extensions.
Kettlebells, you know, we have the kettlebells, we have dumbbells, we have the stuff that you need to be doing your accessory work on. It's just a lot of people avoid it. And why do you think our members just avoid it, or even just the everyday gym goer? Why aren't they doing it?
One, I think nobody's really taking the time to explain to them the importance, but I think beyond that, people do stuff for fun, right? When they come in for a Sunday, they don't want to do boring bicep curls and banded work and, you know, all this stuff that's, it's like writing a paper. Nobody wants to do the research. They just want to write the paper and get it over with, you know? They just want to get to the punchline. Like, where's my success? Where's my PR? Like, they don't want to put in the little stuff. But the minute you encourage them to do it, the minute they actually try it and they go long enough to see success, they realize there's a huge benefit to it. It's like negatives. They hurt. They're boring. They really suck to do. But over a short period of time, you can see a lot of success with them. And that's the type of accessory work we're talking about. Are we saying don't ever do another bicep curl? No, actually doing bicep curls will help.
Help the cleans too.
Yeah, do them every day? Probably not. But doing a couple sets here or there as accessory work, yeah, that's something we want you to do. We want you to improve your overall fitness. And stuff like bicep curls, stuff like tricep dips, tricep extensions with dumbbells, that's stuff that can help, right? Because we're targeting certain parts of your body that might be weaker than others. You know, a lot of people, they have really weak triceps, and that's the reason they can't hold a front rack for very long. Same with the biceps. Biceps help with your strict pull-up. So we need to build up that bicep strength to help with your strict pull-up, because you need to activate those biceps to pull your body up. So things like that, you know, that's a great question, lead-in question here. Coach Scott, what is the best way to find your weaknesses in form and stability? That way you can tackle and improve all around. I would say, one, listen to your coach. If you have a coach, you really need to listen to your coach. Your coach is going to tell you, hey, you're really weak in this particular muscle group, here's why. General reaction we get from that is, well, how do you know? Well, I just watched you squat with one leg. Okay, so generally I'm going to know you're deficient in that other leg. Or it might be something where, you know, hey, you're just lacking ankle mobility and that's why you're constantly falling forward in the overhead squat. I mean, there's a million ways. Guys, we have trained and learned this stuff and gone over it. So, you know, step one, if you're in a group fitness environment, your coach should be telling you this stuff. They should be calling out your deficiencies and telling you, hey, this is your deficiency. They may or may not know the best ways to attack that. They might send you to somebody else to get that extra work to get that fixed. But definitely take into consideration, guys, if you're being told that you're deficient or you have an issue, fix it. Don't wait.
And when it comes to things like stabilization, that's a lot of the pesky stuff where it takes more time to program it. You know, I don't have my barbell in my hand, or I don't want to be on one foot. You know, I don't want to go down onto all fours and do bird dogs. You know, strengthening the core, finding all of the imbalances and all the weaknesses. You know, it kind of goes back to it's putting in all of that extra work. You know, the same amount of work and effort that you're putting into your strength training or your bodybuilding. You know, we could even take the world of bodybuilding. You know, a lot of the simple accessory-based movements that they are doing, it all translates to what we do over here. Like Coach Chris said, bicep curls. It may seem like, oh, what do I need a bicep curl for in the pull-up world or CrossFit
That's not
world?
functional.
That's not functional. Well, if you're having trouble with your cleans, you know, or if you're having trouble with your pull-ups, or you're just gassing, you know, maybe adding a strict bicep curl, and maybe you're doing your bicep curls wrong. You know, if you're having to wrench your whole body and twist to the side to curl those.
If your shoulder blade moves when you curl,
Yeah.
you're doing it wrong.
We should not have to put our entire body into a bicep curl, so even the simplest movements, we're probably doing them wrong. And like I said, we need a coach to not just spot the problem, tell me that I'm doing it wrong, but taking that extra time to maybe take that person aside at the end of class if they've got a couple minutes, and we can show you a couple things. I want you to take these 2 movements, go home with these, do them until you come back to the gym and see me again, and let's see if things are feeling better, or let's program a couple new movements into your routine over the course of the next 14, maybe 21 days, and then we can talk about it again. And if that person is dedicated and taking that time, as a coach, it's going to be awesome when you see that person not struggling anymore with what they're doing.
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing I've always learned with accessory work is it sucks for me because I've always had really crappy shoulders. So I never really want to do shoulder stuff. And I think you guys probably hear the same thing from people. It's like, why do I want to work on my hamstrings? That's not where I'm good.
It hurts.
Yeah, it hurts. Or I'm not good at stuff that involves my hamstring. I'm not good at deadlifts. So I
All
don't
those
want to do
ladies that
deadlift.
want that booty, you gotta have those
Doctor
hamstrings.
told me I should take it easy for
Yeah.
the rest of my life on my hamstring.
Yeah, my favorite is, oh, well, I'm not good at that movement, so I just don't do a lot of it. Well, how do you think you're ever going to get good at it? Like, I get it. People want that immediate gratification, right? So the immediate gratification comes from, oh, this is something I'm good at, so I'm going to do a lot of this. I'm going to focus on it because I get that immediate gratification every time I do it. It's the same thing I do on the golf course. Everybody loves to drive the ball because it's fun and you get to hit the ball really far. It doesn't matter where it goes because who cares? Let's drop the ball on the fairway. Oh, practice my putting? Yeah, no thanks. No, I'll just stick over here to the driving range and hit the ball really far. I don't care where it goes.
I don't putt.
Putting's hard. Putting takes work. Chipping? Yeah, no thanks. Short game? I don't need that. I just want to hit the ball really far. The same thing goes with lifting weights. Nah, I don't really want to learn how to do a proper front squat or a proper back squat. I just want to clean and snatch because it's fun and it's active and it's flashy. And, it makes me feel good when I get a 5-pound PR. But everybody else got a 25-pound PR because they were working on things that they were deficient at. That's the difference. You can stick to that. That's fine. If you're not a member of this gym and you feel like you don't know where to turn for that, you can always contact us, and we can get you set up on a Fitbot account and do some sort of independent design programming. If you've followed us for, was that episode 2? We talked about that. If you follow the podcast and watched episode 2. You'll hear us talk a lot about independent design programming. That's something we can do remotely. You can send in some videos and go, hey, where am I deficient? I feel like something's off, but I don't know where. And we'll take a look at that video, whoever you decide to contact, and we'll get back to you on where you're deficient and give you some accessory work to fix that problem. It's a simple thing. It's a difficult thing because it is so simple. But it's difficult because it's mentally draining and it's not that immediate reward. It's not a flashy thing to do. So that's something just to think about when you're at home. Different things you can do at home, different things you can do while you're traveling to just continue improving. So some things to kind of keep in the back of your mind for the future.
And if you're still confused on what it is you need to do as far as accessory programming goes, just remember, stick to the basics. You need a strong core. You need to be able to move your body together. You need to be able to put your hands over your head. Those are all basics.
We want to see you succeed outside of the gym too. So we want to see that everyday life is getting better, that your overall functional lifestyle is improving, that you can go out and do those things with your fit friends, quote unquote fit friends that told you that years ago encouraged you to go to the gym, and now you're probably more fit than they are, but you're sitting in here in the gym instead of going out with them doing the fun stuff. Get out of here.
Use your fitness.
When we're talking about getting out of the gym too, there's so many other areas of fitness that you could participate in. Join a club. Adult soccer team. Softball team. Local basketball team. Take a yoga class. Go try a spin class. Sign up for Pilates, especially if you're the one that's training 6-7 days a week and stuff just hurts all the time. We might need to step back from the strength portion of it, reprogram, work the core, especially from like a Pilates standpoint. Pilates is probably one of the most humbling experiences that I've ever gone through working on a reformer. You think you're strong, you think you're flexible until you get into a different modality, and it's eye-opening. And I mean, the benefits from people thinking outside of the box. I mean, if you look at pro football players now that are doing yoga, Pilates, MMA, where you can go back 15, 20 years, all they did was lift weights and drink beer. You know, now it's changing. Those athletes back then, most of those athletes don't function properly now. You know, you can look at the athletes that took care of themselves throughout the years, even athletes now, you know, where injuries are less, or if I have an injury, I can go back to my accessory work, I can fix the injury, I can reprogram my body, and it just puts more tools in your bag and more for you to use in the gym.
I agree. Can't believe it.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's, you know, it's obviously, this is all part of an equation, right? So fitness is part of an equation. What you do here in the gym is it's just part of the equation. The other part of that equation is how that translates to the everyday life. You know, and like we've got another thing here, accessory work. Notice a lot of issues, pacing and breathing. Accessory work isn't going to change your breathing. You need to actually practice your breathing. That needs to be practiced while you're working out during regular, everyday classes. You know, if you took our aerobic capacity seminar before the open, we talked a lot about breathing. We talked a lot about understanding your heart rate. We talked a lot about understanding pace. That is so vital. We could do an entire podcast, which we will. We'll probably do an entire episode on aerobic capacity, maybe two, because there's so much there in terms of the importance of breathing, in terms of the importance of pacing, in terms of the importance of understanding your own body and understanding your own speed and speed that you can maintain. Whether you're looking to maintain that speed for 30 seconds or 30 minutes, you need to know the difference and the speed that you can go at for those different time domains and everything in between.
And for that, like when we're doing our accessory work, that really allows you the time to be slower, more controlled, and focusing on your breathing. You know, being a trainer for almost 12 years now, one of the biggest things that I see still to this day is people don't breathe when they exercise.
People don't breathe correctly.
They're not breathing correctly, you know, it's coming in and going out at the wrong time, and breathing patterns can really play a factor on how you're performing. If you're not breathing right, especially during a big lift or an accessory movement, you can have that massive spike in heart rate, you know, you can get dizzy, and those are things that you need to be practicing. Breathing is key. If we're not breathing properly, things on the inside, you know, thinking back to what Coach Matt said earlier, the whole core to extremity, the breathing starts on the inside. It all generates to the outside of what we're doing. And, you know, knowing how to pace your accessory work, knowing how to pace your bigger movements, your more higher intensity things, it's only going to make you a better athlete. And if you're having trouble pacing your breathing or controlling your heart rate during accessory work, that's another moment for come and grab one of us. You know, we can watch you, we can monitor you, show you some techniques to maybe step back, check your heart rate every now and then. You don't necessarily need a heart rate monitor. You know, you could take a 15-second pulse, do a little bit of math. It's really easy techniques we can teach people, so you can be more aware of what zone I'm in. You know, man, my heart rate's getting too high. It's not going down, it's going up. Pacing, all of it, breathing.
Also, if you feel like you're going to pass out, that generally means your heart rate's way too high.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, that's a good thing too. Is, you know, we're going to be doing our aerobic capacity specialty course here pretty soon. It's going to be announced in the next few weeks. If you like the seminar, you're going to love this class. We're going to go way more in depth into aerobic capacity, way more in depth into understanding how your body functions, understanding your speeds, understanding what a 30-second intensity feels like versus 30 minutes versus 3 hours. You know, a great example we use on a regular basis is Rich Froning. Rich Froning knows his 3-hour pace for a 400-meter run, and he knows his 400-meter run pace for 60 seconds. Is there a difference? Absolutely. It's pretty massive difference. It's about a 20 or 30-second difference versus his 3-hour pace is about 1:58, and he can run that without trying. And what I mean by without trying is he doesn't have to think about it, his body just knows how to react to it. So if he's told to go run his recovery pace, which is his 3-hour pace, he does it. And you can clock him, and he's within a second every single lap. And that's something that they noticed, Chris Hinshaw noticed with his entire team. He got his entire team, MAM team, on that same pace. So when they do a recovery run, they do it together at that same pace every single time. And that's something that you have to learn. It takes a lot of practice. But if you take the time to really practice your pacing, you can look at a workout and you can go, okay, this is one where I need to pace it at about 50%, or I need to pace it at 100%, 90%, 80%. And you can do it. And you can probably see significant improvements in your overall capacity because you understand how to control your heart rate, how to control your intensity to get the absolute maximum effort in.
Yeah, totally. And if you're an individual who, for thrusters are my favorite thing to talk about. We're talking about breathing and moving. Those would be great as accessories like thrusters. If you can't even put the bar on your shoulders, then the last thing you're going to be thinking about is, or what I mean by put the bar on your shoulders, you can't even get into a proper front rack because of mobility restrictions. Last thing on your mind is going to be breathing techniques. So this is where you need to take a step back. Grab a set of dumbbells. That way you don't have to necessarily worry about how much your wrist hurts, but now you can really think about how well you're breathing, and when you're breathing, and how much you're breathing, and how fast you're breathing.
Yeah, I think that's another great point. If you're worried about your breathing, but you can't do a push-up or you can't do the movement, your breathing doesn't really matter because you need to actually figure out how to do the movement properly so you can do it fast enough and efficiently that your breathing actually matters. So, like running, everybody should know how to breathe when they're running just because everybody should be able to run. If you can't run, you should be able to walk fast enough. If that's not the case, you need to be on a rower or an aerodyne where you can push the intensity to the point where you have to learn how to breathe properly. But when it comes to weightlifting, recovery breaths, yes. Is it important? Absolutely. But is everybody at a point where they need to know how to do that? Absolutely not. They need to focus on actually learning how to cycle a barbell fast enough to get into that mode where they need to learn how to do a recovery breath first. So I think there are steps in line there that need to be hit long before they learn how to breathe properly.
The best way I've learned to teach people how to breathe correctly, because there's a lot of, you talk about lung capacity. Your lung capacity is far more greater whenever you actually use your diaphragm to change the pressure inside of your cavity to fill up your lungs instead of using your lung or your rib cage, your shoulders, and your neck to breathe. If you're always breathing with your upper body, breathing like this when you're exhausted, not breathing with your belly, that means getting a big, huge, fat belly and then pushing all the air out with your belly moving in and out, then you need to practice drills like take a slam ball that's 10 pounds and put it on your stomach, lie on the ground with your heels tucked in close to your butt, and just breathe and make that slam ball go up and down as each and every breath. That is not only, and you can make the slam ball heavier if you want to work on strengthening your diaphragm, because it is a muscle that does control the breathing in your body. You just have to learn how to turn it on and use it, and you will get significant amounts. If you tested on a VO2 or on a VO2 test machine, and you tested your diaphragmatic breathing versus your stressful breathing, there'd be a significant change in your VO2 max and your ability to transfer and replenish oxygen or replenish muscles.
Just to add to that, I was going to mention the VO2 max. Knowing your VO2 max is almost as important as knowing a 1 rep max. You need to know your top level. And your VO2 max is natural. So it's not something you can improve on. You can't grow your VO2 max. You can always learn how to breathe through your diaphragm to maximize your VO2 max based on your DNA and your body. But your body is only capable of going to a certain level of VO2 max. There is a cutoff point, but knowing that, you can learn and train your body to work at 90% of that number, to work at 80% of that number for long periods of time. But if you don't know what that number is, you're kind of wasting your time trying to figure out where your max is. You need to learn what your VO2 max is, and you need to understand, okay, this is the absolute best I can work at, and I can probably only be there for about 10 or 15 seconds before my body shuts down. So let's scale it back. Let's teach my body how to work at 60%, then 70%, then 80%. until you could figure out how to work at that about 90% of that VO2 max, which is what games athletes have trained themselves to be able to do. Rich Froning is probably the first one to really maximize that. You could watch him work out, and he would work at a pretty slow pace, right? Everybody would be right with him for about half the workout. And then he would hit a point where he would start noticing people slowing down, and he would turn it up. So he would be working about 70%. And everybody else was maxing out, trying to keep up with him. And then he would go to 80, 90% and just take off, and he would just leave everyone in the dust. And Matt Fraser's doing the same thing now. The difference is, people know now what Matt Fraser's doing. People didn't know back then what Rich Froning was doing. They didn't know how. They thought he was a superhuman. What he had done was actually learn how to maximize his VO2 to where he was working at 90% of his VO2 max, which is almost a sprint pace. For minutes, if not hours, he could work at that pace because he had trained his body how to. So before you learn breathing, before you learn a lot of breathing techniques, you need to understand what your maximum is, and you need to understand what pace right now you can work at based on that maximum for a long period of time. And then what you do is you just try to improve that intensity level over time.
The easy ways to improve that intensity level is take a 20-pound wall ball, if you can only do 5 or 7 wall balls in a row, and get a 14-pound wall ball and then do 20 in a row. That's how you develop aerobic capacity. Wall balls weren't meant to be heavy. That's more of an accessory. So that's an example of when accessory should be heavier than it is when you're actually working out, because you're trying to develop the wall balls. If you could throw a 30-pound up wall ball 3 sets of 10, just practicing, then that's going to make you way better at your 20-pound wall ball throws. Or if you're just at a 14 and you want to go to 20, then work on the 20 in accessory, and then 14 in the actual WOD of the class where we're doing 50, 100 wall balls, where the purpose of that movement is aerobic capacity, not muscular strength.
Right, I think that's also attacking the nervous system, right? Building your nervous system to be able to handle heavier weights so that when you put lighter weights on, it's like, oh, I got this all day long. It's mental, but it's also physical. You notice that with TZ, he's been making everybody do 10-foot line wall balls. And a lot of people are like, man, this is crazy, it's out of control. But when you go into the open and it's 8 foot, 9 foot, it's going to feel really easy. And that is the whole point, is to make things feel really, really easy. So you have to be able to work at that top level, work at that bottom level, and work everything in between to make sure that you're very well rounded when the time comes to actually test your function, your fitness in a competitive setting.
And I think pretty much with everything we've talked about today, it really boils down to train your weaknesses to find that perfect balance within your physique, your fitness goals. If we're not training the weaknesses, they're always going to be there. And that's what we really want you to take away from today's cast, guys, is if there's a weakness, if there's an issue, you need to be addressing that issue to drive the results from your programming and from your gym.
Just keep getting better, guys. That's all it is. If you're happy where you're at, that's awesome. Maintain it. Keep going. That's up to you. If you're just here to get a sweat on, if you're wherever you're at, you just feel good coming in and getting that sweat and knowing you did something that day. Hey, that is awesome. And you all the power to you, because you're off the couch, you're hitting it, you're improving yourself. You're probably keeping yourself in a healthy lifestyle, keeping yourself in that kind of homeostasis level. If you're looking to get better, accessory work is one of those things you need to do. Working with a coach, getting that one-on-one, learning how to do accessory work. Accessory work isn't something you're going to learn on your own. You may need to get a coach. You may need to do a couple 30-minute sessions to figure that out. But that's okay. It's a short thing. You'll get it, and once you get it, you're off to the races on your own. But again, if you're confused, if you have issues, if you have questions, ask. We're always here. There's always multiple coaches here that aren't working out, that aren't coaching. Even if they are, they will answer your questions.
Don't try to fix it on your own and just go that route. Let us fix it for you.
I say we're good to go. That's all I got to say.
All right, guys. Well,
all I got to say about that.
This is CFT FitCast, episode 4, signing off. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.